chemicals are the sinister and little recognized partners of radiation in changing the very nature of the world, the very nature of its life.
Published in 1962. It concerns itself mainly with the chemical DDT. DDT was first synthesized in 1874, and it wasn't until 1939 that it was used as an insecticide. Paul Hermann Mueller won the Nobel Prize in Medicine for its use as an insecticide. The legacy of Silent Spring has been very important over the last 5 decades. The creation of the EPA and many of the environmental movements have been inspired by this book. This book suggests using as little as possible that is necessary for effective use in terms of synthetic chemicals and toxic substances. Through the years, several substances, including DDT, have been banned for use. Other laws continue to work on this principle, such as the Safe Drinking Water Act, Pollution Prevention Act, and the Toxic Substance Control Act, all of which apply to the University of Arizona and to agricultural practices as well. Its criticism has lived on through the ages as well, and it continues to be a source of contention. Many people feel that if DDT was continued to be used, there would have been less malaria cases. And most of these people are large industrial and chemical companies that promote this view. I believe this book has had a beneficial legacy, and while the scenario presented was exaggerated, if we had done nothing during the 60s and 70s to limit the use of synthetic chemicals and toxic substances, such an ecological crisis could be possible at this time. The adverse effects of DDT build up in the environment due to a process called biomagnification. This is caused by its persistence and inability to be broken down by living systems, and its low rate of excretion from living systems. This accumulates in higher members of the food chain due to different dynamics of the food chain. So different substances can be concentrated within different animals, leading to more harmful effects in specific species of animals. It is not unexpected to have much criticism of this book. After all, in the book Silent Spring, it talks about environmentalism being quite a subversive subject, in which it cut against the normal morals of profit and capitalism.
There are two ways to solve the problem DDT gives us is biological control and transgenetic technology. Biological control is control of pests by disrupting their ecological status through the use of organisms that are natural predator or sterilization, also called biocontrol. This is a good way to prevent the pest. Unlike DDT, biological control cannot produce toxin, therefore no toxin can affect the ecosystem. To gain this skill, we need to research the farmland ecosystem. It is required to know what kind of pests affect the crops in this ecosystem. Then, we need to select the predator or sterilization this kind of organism and use it in this ecosystem. It is not as stable as transgenetic technology because transgenetic technology is the process of inserting another gene called a transgene into a living organism so that the organism will exhibit a new property and transmit that property to its offspring. For example, people can insert a gene of a special protein which can kill cotton bollworm into cotton, so that cotton could be protected. Unlike DDT, the protein produced by transgenetic technology can hardly spread out into the whole ecosystem and even other ecosystems. Compared with biological control, transgenetic technology is more stable. To gain this skill, we need to select the target gene segment we required and the carrier. Combine the gene segment with carrier and insert them into the select cell of organism. It is more stable than biological control, but it's much harder to operate.
Carson changed the way people thought about their environment. She focused on the banning of the use of pesticides. This made the public aware of the impact that human activity had on the environment. In her book, she presented some of the effects that DDT had as a pesticide. She presented the disappearance of many species, for example, the thinning of the bird shells, and how this was affecting the population of birds to decrease. But agencies started to become aware of the banning of pesticides. Birds started to live, but this also enabled the surge of insect populations. So mosquitoes were spreading throughout the world and spreading malaria, causing millions of deaths. Farmers and sprayers were in contact with these pesticides on a daily basis and had also fatal effects. Pesticides also affect the soil in which living organisms live and are affecting generations of organisms. And this also spreads throughout the world through groundwater and rain. The synthetic chemicals are affecting our water, our food, and are causing cancer, birth defects, and other toxic effects. But there are several actions engineers and scientists have taken in order to solve these problems and regulate the use of pesticides. The end-of-pipe technology is a technology used to capture and neutralize hazardous pollutants in the air and involve. This graph shows the environmental technologies and how they are classified into 3 generations: the end-of-pipe, the pollution prevention, and the environmental restoration, and how they have been developed throughout the years depending on environmental treatments in order to meet the policies that have been created throughout the years. And it also shows how it has been advancing and it has met the environmental problems of each decade. Pollution prevention technologies have helped minimize costs in the industry because they improve the overall efficiency and reduce the energy consumption of the industries.
There are several primary parts of this problem that can be addressed with technology. Part of this would be other uses of pesticides, such as other chemical pesticides or natural biocontrol. The potential use of this technology in the future is due to be minimal. Newer technologies shall replace DDT over the years. Even if it wasn't so harmful for the environment, it would eventually produce resistance in the mosquitoes, and its use would come to an end that way. Some potential challenges to this technology in the future would include insects growing resistant to insecticides of any kind. Other potential challenges would be considering the harmful effect any insecticide or toxic substance being introduced to the environment could cause to the ecosystem as a whole.
Engineers need to let people know the benefit new technologies give us through advertising. Engineers also need to address the safety, health, and welfare to people to let them know the damage DDT can cause, especially to our bodies and to other organisms. Whether the technology endangers life or property, and when they address it to the public, they should be objective and truthful about their professional reports and say the truth about what is really happening in the environment. And some people might not care about the ecosystem, but none of us can ignore the damage to our bodies and to our offspring. If people know the damages of DDT and the benefits of new technologies, they can bring these together to support the government and other engineers in order to make laws to limit the DDT in other countries. Here in the United States, there have been websites created that tell you the amount of water, air, chemicals, depending on your zip code. So people in a community can get involved to know what kind of risks their families face or themselves face as involving health and safety issues.
Here is a coin, has both heads and tails. Technology is like a coin. Every coin, we cannot accept the coin without both sides. For technology, heads represent the positive effect, tails represent the negative effect. The Nobel Prize given to Paul Müller show us the heads. The book Silent Spring showed us the tail of DDT. Other technology is similar. Transgenic crops can kill the pests and increase the yield and quality of crops, but it can also cause the super weeds and super virus that can harm the ecosystem. Biological control can kill the pests, but it can also cause biological invasion of predator or pests. So, how to make the limitation is also the work engineers need to do, and it's also a challenge for us.